Hey everyone, Nate here, Hill and Ponton's video guy, and today I'm joined with Dr. Alexander Williams, and we're going to talk about a plethora of things. If this is something that you're interested in, we could do a lot more of these videos talking about a bunch of different things with wonderful experts in the field. So please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, all the things. But instead of me monologuing forever, which I can do because I have attention problems, let's hop in. How you doing, Dr. Alexander Williams?
Hey, Nate, feel free to call me Alex. Doing great.
Perfect. That'll be a lot easier. That'll be a lot easier. But I had to start off the official way.
Of course, of course.
So, Alex, what is it that you do?
I'm a professor and a psychologist at the University of Kansas, but when it comes to working with veterans, I do a few different things. So if veterans are interested in completing a DBQ exam or getting a Nexus Letter prior to submitting their claim, so they can submit that as part of their claim, I help veterans with that. And then I also do contract compensation and pension, or C&P exams. So that's kind of once a veteran has submitted their claim, the VA may contract with me to do the exam with the veteran.
Okay, so we'll kind of dive into both of those to get more. I think when it comes to DBQs and Nexus letters, why are those so important for veterans?
It can help veterans' claims a lot. So let's say that the veteran knows that their mental health problems started in the service or got worse in the service, but they don't have a long paper trail documenting that, or maybe they don't have a diagnosis currently. Doing the DBQ exam can help with getting that on paper from, in my case as a psychologist, from a doctor that says, yes, this person has mental health problems. And then the Nexus letter can help show it comes from their service or it worsened during their service. It helps too to have somebody who has experience with filling out the DBQ. That's the disability benefits questionnaire. And that's what gets filled out by, if once you submit your claim, the VA orders you to do an exam, that's what gets filled out by the examiner there. So that's the language they speak, right? So it's good to have that filled out properly when you're submitting your claim. And so you can say, look, I have somebody that has already checked the right boxes on this.
Okay, and then when it comes to C&P exams, you're someone who gives C&P exams.
That's correct, yes.
So how do those work, and what are some tips that might be good for veterans to know when it comes to C&P exams?
Great question, Nate. So I find that these issues come up more when I do C&P exams. So it may just be an effect of the people who are contacting me to do a DBQ exam or a Nexus letter for them. They've a lot of times they're watching your YouTube videos. They're doing a lot of homework already. When I get veterans who are doing C&P exams, maybe they haven't had as much time to look into everything. And so sometimes they may just have misconceptions about why they're meeting with me. So understandable misconceptions, but I've had folks who thought that I was working for the VA and going to be like a treating psychologist for them. And like, oh, we were going to start doing therapy on a weekly basis. And this was just our first meeting. So I think just understanding that when you're meeting with this person, it's just a one-time meeting and they're going to be asking you, they have set questions, like a set form that you can look up online, the disability benefits questionnaire for mental disorders or for PTSD, and you can see the questions that they're going to be asking you, or I should say the topics they're going to be asking you about. And just understanding, that they have to kind of be able to fill in those boxes as they go when they're asking you questions.
Okay, so would we be able to link a disability benefits questionnaire in the description below?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and link that below for anyone who wants to click. So for those people who we've explained disability benefits questionnaire and talked a little bit about C&P exams, how it's more of a session to figure out what it is that you're experiencing as a veteran that can be service connected, and whether or not that is something that can be service connected. And that's your job to fill out the DBQ in the C&P exam. Am I correct in saying that?
That's correct. Yes, exactly.
And then a Nexus letter. So for someone who is brand new to this whole thing, what exactly is a Nexus letter?
Okay. So let's say that that your PTSD or your depression, that it started during your military service, but you don't have, though, right now, clear records that demonstrate that. Or maybe you have some records from the service that, maybe you saw a doctor once and something came up about depression, but it's just not a really clear link. A Nexus letter can help to show It's what the VA would need as evidence to help show, look, this mental health problem this veteran had started during their military service. It was due to their military service. And to get benefits, that's the connection that needs to be made. So just having served and being depressed isn't enough to get benefits. It's that it has to be shown that it started in your military service, the mental health problem.
Awesome. And then I guess my last question, unless you think I've missed anything through anything I'm talking about that you'd like to fill in any gaps that you think are here. My last question is just why is it that you like helping veterans so much?
My grandpa was in the Seabees in World War II, and my grandpa on my mom's side served in the Korean War. Um, you know, I think I just have enjoyed the process of helping people to get benefits that they deserve. And sometimes there's just roadblocks to them getting them. And by doing what I do, I'd like to think, hopefully, we have a good track record that we can help people get the benefits they deserve. So that's kind of what drew me to it. You asked about anything else that you missed. I mean, the only other things that would just maybe be some tips for veterans when they come in for exams. Again, don't be afraid. It can be hard to talk to somebody who's a stranger, right? But it's useful if you can actually share about what's going on in your life and the problems that you're having. And think about, you can look at, we're going to have it linked below, the disability benefits questionnaires. You can see the types of things they're going to be asked about. Think about in these different areas of life, like your social life, your relationships with your family, your work, and how you interact with people at work or get work done. Think about how your mental health problems cause you difficulties in these areas, problems with your functioning in these areas. So that matters a lot. So if I'm depressed, does it matter if I say, I feel down most days or I feel down every day? Yeah, that's good to know. But what's really important for that form is how is it affecting your life? How is it negatively affecting your life and causing you disruptions in your life? A good examiner will ask questions that will help figure that out. But it's not always the case, though, that every examiner is going to ask those questions carefully. And so it's good to have, if you can even ahead of time, write down 3 or 5 things that you want to remember to bring up about how these mental health problems are affecting your life. And then if the examiner doesn't bring them up or doesn't ask you about them, then you can just bring them up on your own and let the examiner know about them. So I think that's something good to do. Have prepared, what are the things how are my mental health problems negatively impacting my life in these different areas with how I relate to people close to me, how I relate to people in general, and how I work.
That's a great tip. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Do you want people to be able to reach out to you for anything?
Yeah, yeah. So if people are interested in contacting us in doing an exam or a Nexus letter with me to help their claim, the website is disabledveteranbenefits.com. If it's okay with you, Nate, to link to that, disabledveteranbenefits.com. And folks can use that, and we have a contact form on there, and they can use that to get in touch with us and ask us any questions they have. And if they're interested in Nexus letter or exam, we can kind of help them with that process.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alex. Hopefully, we can have you on again to share more tips.
Yeah, at any time, Nate. I love talking about this stuff.